Ever wondered how England got its name? It all starts with the fall of an empire and the arrival of some very ambitious migrants. After Rome abandoned Britain, a new wave of warriors crossed the North Sea. Why did the Anglo-Saxons command? What were they looking for? Let's dive in. The year is for 10 AD. The Roman Empire, stretched thin and facing threats on all fronts, pulls its legions out of Britain. For nearly 400 years, Rome had provided security, infrastructure, and a certain way of life. Suddenly, it was all gone. Britain was left defenseless, a land of roads without patrols and forts without soldiers. This created a massive power vacuum, and nature, as they say, abhors a vacuum. The native Britons, now on their own, were vulnerable to raids from the Picts in the north and the Irish from the west. They needed help, and they looked across the sea for it. But that's only half the story. To understand why the Anglo-Saxons came, we first need to look at why they were so eager to leave their homes. Life in their Germanic homelands, what is now northern Germany, Denmark, and the Netherlands, was becoming increasingly difficult. For one, these areas were getting crowded. Growing populations put immense pressure on limited resources, especially farmland. There just wasn't enough land to go around, which meant not enough food for everyone. On top of that, the climate was taking a turn for the worse. The 5th century saw a period of cooling leading to harsher winters, shorter growing seasons, and failed harvests. When people are cold and hungry, they start looking for better places to live. And if that wasn't enough, there was a massive domino effect happening across Europe. The fearsome Huns were pushing westward from the steppes, displacing other tribes like the Goths, who in turn pushed against the Germanic tribes, including the Angles, the Saxons, and the Jutes. It was a continent-wide game of musical chairs, and the Anglo-Saxons were being squeezed out. So with all these problems at home, where do you go? You look for opportunity. And Britain looked like a golden opportunity. From across the North Sea, Britain seemed like a paradise. It had fertile green farmland, perfect for growing crops and raising livestock. Better yet, after the Romans left, and with plague and conflict thinning the population, the island seemed relatively empty and ripe for the taking. The local Britons had forgotten how to fight for themselves after centuries of Roman protection. Their defenses were weak and disorganized. At first, the Anglo-Saxons came as raiders, hitting coastal towns, stealing valuables, and leaving. They quickly realized how easy it was, and these raids soon turned into something much more permanent. The story gets even more interesting. According to legend, a British warlord named Vortigern made a fateful decision. Desperate to fend off his rivals, he hired a group of Saxon mercenaries to fight for him. He promised them land and supplies in exchange for their service. The plan worked, at least initially. The Saxons were excellent fighters. But here's the twist. They saw just how rich and weak Britain was. They liked the land they were given, and they decided they wanted more. So they sent word back home. Soon, it wasn't just warriors coming over. It was entire families, farmers, and craftsmen. The invitation had become an invasion. What started as a few boatloads of mercenaries turned into a full-scale migration. Thousands of people crossed the North Sea, seeking not just plunder, but a new home. This migration wasn't just a simple resettlement. It was a complete cultural and political takeover. The Anglo-Saxons brought their language, their pagan gods, and their warrior culture with them. They were driven by a desire for land, wealth, and gloria, chance for a better life and higher social status than they could ever achieve back home. Over the next 2 centuries, they pushed the native Britons to the western fringes of the island, into what we now call Wales, Cornwall, and Scotland. In the lands they conquered, they established new kingdoms. The Saxons founded Wessex, Essex, and Sussex. The Angles created Northumbria, Mercia, and East Anglia, and the Jutes settled in Kent. These 7 major kingdoms, known as the Heptarchy, became the new power structure. And that's how a migration, driven by desperation and ambition, reshaped a whole nation. The collapse of one empire created the perfect conditions for the birth of another. The Anglo-Saxons didn't just conquer Britain. They laid the very foundations of the country that would one day be called England, the land of the Angles. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey back in time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more history videos. I'll see you in the next one.